And good Tuesday morning. Just 1 minute after 10 o'clock, time for Community Spotlight on KRIM. Randy Roberson with you, and with me in the studio, we have some folks from Aspire, Arizona, Paul Brocker, their president. Also from the Payson High School, Jeff Simon, and he's the principal there, and a student, Alyssa Burst. And we're going to find out how she's really benefited from all of the things that Aspire, Arizona provides. And I think, just because it sounds like it'll be fun, let's pick on Alyssa first. Now, Alyssa, one of the things, we've talked about Aspire Arizona here on the air before, and one of the things that it has been enabling or empowering students to do is to get some of their college credits taken care of while they're still in high school. And we were just talking before the show here today, and you've actually, by the end of this school year, you're a senior at Payson High School, and by the end of the school year, you're actually going to have your associate's degree.
I am, yeah. I took 2 classes outside of the dual enrollments, but the rest of my credits were fully paid for by Aspire.
Wow. And so, talk about being able to hit the ground running as soon as you graduate. And do you have you put together your plans yet on where you intend to go to school next?
I will be applying to a few schools, but specifically I'll be applying early decision to Duke.
Wow, very interesting. And with aspirations of getting into
economics.
Economics, wow, very good. Well, the economics of the Aspire program really helped you out, that's for sure. And again, with us also, Paul Brocker, the president of Aspire. And talk about a success story, Paul. This is amazing.
Well, we love to hear these stories.
Sure.
And I think I've had the privilege of every year we do a breakfast, and I've had with the scholars, and I've had the privilege of meeting so many of the students, and I think what makes me be more involved even is what they tell me about, how this has impacted them, and that's what we're all about. We're in a small town. The students don't have necessarily every advantage a big city might have, and so we came up with this concept 5 years ago that let's try and help our local students, and we've been successful with it, and again we're going to start this year's fundraising campaign here in the next month or so, and because we anticipate even more students participating this year. I think we're estimating around 140.
Wow.
And so we have to raise some dollars to make sure that we're able to cover those tuition.
We're going to talk more about that too. And also, as I mentioned, Payson High School principal Jeff Simon with us. And Jeff, things have sure changed since back when I was in high school. Granted, you're not using stone tablets anymore and things like that. But I would be of the mind that one of the real disadvantages, or not necessarily disadvantages, but one of the hassles when it comes to heading off to college is getting all of those required credits out of the way, your first year or so. That can be, perhaps a little less than motivational for some students. This is amazing to be able to get this knocked out while you're still in high school.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and we can't thank Aspire enough. In reality, I graduated from a high school roughly Payson size in Colorado, and during that time we didn't have opportunities like this, and so we really didn't know what to expect whenever college was rolling around. What our guidance counselors told us, or experiences from our teachers, and so we really didn't know what we were stepping into in that first year, and so a lot of us got beat up going that first year, and even myself, I had to take a semester off. It was a lot.
Right.
And eventually I was able to go back and finish and get 2 master's degrees, but I wished I had the information up front before I went, so I'd be better prepared.
Well, and it's encouraging to hear the number of students that are taking advantage of this. Paul was just talking about like around 150 or something like that.
Yeah, roughly 140, 138, 140. We have a ton of students that are in the program, and
wow.
And even in a dual or in an online environment,
right,
we still have kids succeeding in these areas. Yeah.
And so everyone is studying from home currently, and that's going to change next month, hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully.
Knock on.
Yep.
Non-virus.
We have every plan in place to have students on campus on the 12th.
Outstanding.
Yep.
It's got to be an interesting challenge. One of the things in my disaster work, I've been dealing with telemedicine since 2004, when a lot of people didn't know how to use the word in a complete sentence. And now, since the COVID-19 thing, so many practices, medical practices, have been kind of forced into it, but are we're also forced to see the benefit, and now are going to stick with that even after this pandemic thing is over and done with. How about when it comes to education at Payson High School? I mean, with all of this distance learning and all of that, I mean, it obviously has to be a learning experience for the administration and the teachers as well.
Yeah, it's been a huge learning curve for all of us, but I think the benefit that's coming out of it is we have identified the need to bring our three high schools together: Payson High School, Payson Center for Success, and Payson Center for Success Online. And now our students have the opportunity for all of those three campuses. So a student might be first and second hour face-to-face, third hour online, and fourth hour in a blended learning environment. Now they have that opportunity for all of it. But then within that, of course, they can take the Aspire classes or dual enrollment classes. So we are just opening up a ton of opportunities for kids.
And Paul, I mean, this has got to be an interesting bunch of challenges for Aspire Arizona in that, I mean, you've been having wild success, and now there's more and more kids that want to get involved. So, I mean, that's a good kind of challenge, but all of a sudden, you all have to be working on where the money comes from to make this happen.
Well, that's right. I think, the goal really is to get the word out to the community, because I think the Payson community will see the value of this for our kids. And I think the most important thing is that we come together as a community and support the kids. That's really been my goal ever since I've been involved in Aspire, and just recently as I took over as president, is to really let the community know the impact this is having, because and these are our people right here, and it gives them such an advantage to not only get that little head start, but it also gives them a sense of what they're going to see in college.
Right.
And I think that's really an important thing, in addition to just the fact that they're getting the credits. So I think it makes the transition easier for them. I was 25 years in higher education, and I watched the transition. And I think it's important that our community, step up and help. And I think our hope is that as more and more people hear about what we're doing, then more and more people will step up and give us a hand.
Right. And so, we've talked a number of times here about the benefits that are provided through Aspire Arizona. If someone listening this morning is thinking, wow, that sounds like a great cause, I'd like to contribute to that, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Well, they can call us. One of the reasons we're able to do this is we don't have major expenses, because thanks to MHA Foundation, they handle all of a lot of the administrative work for us and things like that. And folks can get on our mailing list just by calling 928-472-2588 and getting on the mailing list. We do a fairly significant mailing. All in the coming late October or in the first part of November, and that list, we'd love to have you get on it. If you want to find out more about it, leave your name and number, and I'm happy to call you back and go over things with you and make sure you're aware of what we're doing, and happy to even meet personally with you if it's something that you want to find out more about. So if as we start this fundraising campaign for the fall for this particular year, we're welcoming anybody who feels like they would like to find out more, and not only find out more, but help us support the kids.
Outstanding. And again, Alyssa Burst, one of the things that I'm curious. I mean, first of all, you're a senior this year at Payson High School. How long have you been benefiting from the services or the support of Aspire Arizona?
I took my first class through Aspire in community college my freshman year. I took a math class, and then I took another the year after, and then multiple since then.
Very interesting. And so as far as the benefits, I mean, this has been kind of a plan of yours from the very beginning, and obviously you're now being able to see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
How about other students? I mean, have there been some that have been watching you and seeing what you've accomplished and thinking, wow, you know, hey, this is a good idea.
Well, I know I'm not the only one aiming for my associates at the end of this year in my senior class. I have a few friends who are aiming for the same. And I know a few people that weren't even really that involved in the program up until this year, and then they've really started to see how beneficial it is and how much money they'd be saving, and even they have started partaking in the classes that are offered.
And when it comes to these classes, are they, you know, just fundamentally different than your typical high school classes? I mean, do you notice a big difference in the way the information is presented and things like that?
Well, I think obviously it depends on the teacher, but it's definitely more challenging coursework, more time consuming. But they definitely make it easy to understand. It's definitely geared toward helping high school kids understand college level material, and they do a really good job of doing that.
And Principal Simon, you know, to just, you know, be exposed to that while in high school, I mean, it's really got to be, you know, a big you know, leg up on everything that you're you know, going to be presented with and dealing with when you do go off to college. I mean, it's got to really give you a great first step.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know, I mean, we've looked at the nationwide statistics of the transition between high school and college, and the rates of kids just not staying in. And we want to try to ease that by having these programs and, you know, putting kids off on the right foot going off to school. But make no mistake, well, this is the real deal. She is a student driven. She owns her education, and we are just lucky to be able to come in and help support her.
Yeah, she definitely seems wise beyond her years, for sure. And you mentioned, Principal Simon, that you had you know, gone to a high school that was similar in size to Payson, and I know, you know, one of the things that Paul had mentioned early on is that, you know, there's not necessarily the same number of resources at the smaller communities like Payson than maybe, you know, like I went to Camelback in Phoenix, and I mean, there's a, you know, a lot more facilities and things like that. There's also a lot more weird distractions and stuff too. But you know, it's got to be, you know, amazing, especially for you after, you know, the experience that you had to all of a sudden see kids benefiting like this. You know, just coming straight out of high school and having their AA degree. I mean, that's it seems profound.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. In fact, I kind of pinch myself every time I get to make that comment at graduation, or we're going to have a conversation about it in a setting like this. It's unbelievable to me that kids have the opportunity to have 2 years under their belt going into college. It's unbelievable to me.
Wow. And Paul, what got you involved in Aspire Arizona to begin with?
Well, I was one of the founding directors back in the beginning, and I left it, you know, as the concept came up that we could, basically the concept originally was that there was some, you know, it was prior to the university campus and so on, those kind of conversations, but what really came to fruition was with the conversations that we really need to try to create an educational, you know, sense here in the community, a higher education sense that our kids here in the community could do it. And so you know, after a lot of conversations and everything, we came up with this concept that what if we were able to partner with high school and the college and then provide the support, make it accessible and affordable for the kids to get that experience and to get that chance to, you know, to take some classes and so on. So it evolved into really an effort to say, can we raise some dollars in the community and step out into the community? And we had some early supporters that really, you know, helped us with that. And now we're out much broader in the community. But the whole idea is to create an atmosphere that higher education is important. And that really was the goal from the beginning, is to let students know that, you know, that it's there, and they could take advantage of it, and we're going to help make it affordable and accessible for them. And so that was the initial kind of conversations. But then as we got into it, and then we started to work with this great partnership between the high school and the community college and ourselves, we started to say, boy, this is really going to do what we wanted it to do, and that is all of a sudden higher education becomes attainable. And that to us at Aspire is what we're really all about, is to help the kids understand that it's there and it's available, and it gives them an opportunity to move in that direction if they choose to.
About how many students were involved last year?
We were about a 130, I think it was.
I want to say 132 is it online?
Yeah, 132. Overall, Randy, we've since we started in 2016, we've 359 students
Wow.
have gone through and received credits at some levels. No, not all of them are like Alyssa, but at some level we've impacted 359 students. So we're proud of it. We think it has potential to grow, and our hope is that we'll be able to make that happen as we go forward.
Is there? I'm sure there's a lot of variables involved, but is there roughly a hard cost to Aspire per student to be able to have support these kids through this?
Well, pretty much how it works is whatever the tuition through the community college is, and we have a committee that just works, specifically with the community college and the high school to just make sure of those numbers, so we have a way to understand. So
it probably depends a lot on what their curriculum that they're focused on is. I mean,
Yeah.
someone that wants to go into medicine might be a little more expensive than someone that wants to go into underwater basket weaving.
Well, most of the focus is to get those core courses, to kind of get those, so that, Alyssa is a little beyond where a lot of them have gone, but is to get those core courses so they step right in and can get into their major, can get into those things when they transfer and get into a school. So that was the original concept, and so it's the math and the English and those kinds of things, more in the core area. But I think the important thing is that we want the students to understand they can do it, and make it available to them and affordable to them so that they can do it.
Very cool. Alyssa, if you could talk to a student who maybe is just coming on board with Payson High School this year, what would you recommend to them? What would you suggest to them based on the experience that you've had?
It's not as scary as it seems. When you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be taking college classes in high school, that's so much, it'll be so much. It's really not. It's a little bit more time consuming. It's not that much. It's totally manageable at any level at which you choose to do it.
So you still have time to see your friends and things like that too in your off time. That's good.
Yeah.
And when it comes to looking for working towards your degree in economics, is there a couple of possible end games that you're hoping to be able to pursue as far as a career?
I could go into policy, obviously, and I can go into the financial aspects if I so choose.
Right.
There's a lot of avenues following an economics degree in government, politics, the financial sector, any of that sort of thing.
Very interesting. Man, I never even knew anyone as mature as you when I was in high school. It's amazing. I mean, but what a great step forward for these students. Jeff, do you see this? I mean, growing a little bit every year at the high school?
Yeah, and I think we have a couple programs that are going to continue to grow. I mean, we continue to look for new opportunities for Aspire. Like Paul had said, we do our core courses with Aspire with English, math, and science. We have a ton of classes that are offered there. We just have to have the teachers that are able to do it with the appropriate degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But you had made a comment about medicine.
Mm-hmm.
We do have that opportunity. It's not necessarily through Aspire, it's through our NAVIT program, and so that's free for students as well. And so we have the career aspect of it where students can go and get a certificate through NAVIT, or they can go through Aspire and receive the credits that they need to go off to college. And so both of those opportunities are available for kids.
The certificate, I mean, you're talking basic first aid, you're talking EMT type stuff?
No, they can become the first level nurse.
First level nurse?
Out of that program.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah, and so they can work their way through, and those are also, if the students so choose to take the classes as college credit, they can become electives. And so let's say if Alyssa had done that and went through the nursing program, she would go off on her economics degree and then also have all of those nursing classes that would go as electives towards her program as well.
Is this something that's being done in a lot of other communities these days?
So the NAVIT programs, well, NAVIT is ours, it's the CTE programs and central programs that are all over the state. We have a large offering. We have 7 different classes, which is much larger than schools our size, and opportunities for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had that offering and we've just made it a little bit better through time, but with Aspire stepping in and taking that other portion of it where kids are looking to go off to a 4-year school, we have that opportunity for them now too. So we have a wide range of opportunities for kids.
And Paul, as far as Aspire goes, I mean, again, they don't let me out of here very often, so I don't know. But, I mean, are these kinds of benefits being offered, in other schools and other, cities and towns? I mean, this is the first time I've ever heard of something like this, and I just think it's, somewhat revolutionary.
Well, I'm not personally aware of it, and I was in a university for 25 years. That was my career, but I wasn't aware of anything. But I was in a large city. I was in Denver, so I'm not sure. I am not aware of a small town doing this kind of thing. I think it's. I would say I'm not aware of a small town doing this kind of thing where the community itself has kind of as a grassroots thing, kind of put it together. And I think. I'm sure there's other things that have happened, that try to help students and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But this has really evolved, to where it's a group of community folks, volunteers. All of us are volunteers. As I said before, we are back. I mean, some of our support mechanisms are handled by MHA, which we're so grateful for, because what that allows us to do is when we get those dollars in, they're funneled right back to the kids. So, our expenses are pretty small, and significant. The donations that come in really do go directly to help the kids. So I think that's really what makes us unique.
Not a lot of other overhead.
Not a lot of overhead or anything like that. Really, the dollars you give really do help the kids you see here in town.
How possible would this be without the support of the MHA Foundation?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, we couldn't do it because we're never going to raise enough money to put staff in place.
Right.
And that really was never our goal, was to build a staff or anything like that. So our goal was really to just raise the dollars and try to get them in to the students through the courses. But without that support, we'd have to hire staff. We'd have to do those kinds of things. And that would take significant, we'd have to triple or more, or more than triple really. I mean, to pay someone full-time to do this background work and stuff like that all gets done through MHA, just wouldn't happen. And so we're really grateful to them.
What about, for maybe a student that's listening if a student's listening right now, you're not supposed to be cutting class. Get back up. But if a student's listening right now, how do they go about getting involved in this, and not only learning more about it, but how can they get the wheels turning, for their own benefit?
Well, I think Jeff really can get how the high school makes them aware of it, but I'll let Jeff
Okay.
to how their counselors and things like that.
Yeah, and so we post it in our course guidebook, so students have the opportunity to see and read the course descriptions with everything.
Right.
We also have our guidance counselors go and speak about it to the different classes. We have our teachers that go and recruit kids to come into their programs.
Mm-hmm.
And we try as a staff to get that information out to kids. And if they have further questions or the parents have further questions, they go in the guidance office. They can call me and call assistant principal. They can get a hold of any of us, and we are willing to give that information out readily.
Bottom line, it's pretty easy to get involved.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting. Now, when it comes to, again, you're a senior this year, Alyssa, and you've been benefiting from the support of Aspire Arizona all 4 years at Payson High School. Now, is that like just 1 or 2 classes each year, or how have you personally been able to achieve this, getting your associate arts degree knocked out by the end of your senior year?
Well, I know the amount of classes that we're able to take through Aspire has increased throughout high school. So my freshman year, I only took one, and I believe that was what was covered by Aspire at the time in 2017. But now it's 3 classes each semester, as long as you maintain a C or above. So I took 1 my freshman year, 1 my sophomore year. I took 3 last year, and I'm taking 3 this year.
Okay, and the criteria is that you have to, with these classes, you have to at least maintain a C average.
Yeah.
Well, that's not, you know, a real tough nut to crack.
No, it's a really good deal.
And so, have you been involved in other extracurricular activities at school as well?
I have, yeah. I did basketball my freshman year, and I've done track since then. I've been a peer tutor since last year. I am the president of NHS. I was the treasurer last year, and I'm actually now the secretary of our Link Crew Leadership Program.
No sense asking what you do in your spare time. You know, so the point out of me, I mean, I knew a little bit about some of that, but the point that I thought, you know, needed to be made is that it's not like you have had to say goodbye to the rest of the world and there was no other activities that you were involved with. You were, you know, strictly academic. I mean, this really hasn't made a big change in your daily schedule or life that way.
No, it's really convenient that way. It just takes the place of a high school class.
Right, makes sense. And again, if you'd like to find out more, one of the easiest ways you can do it is just to contact the folks at Aspire Arizona. And that number to call, as Paul had shared a little bit ago, is 928-472-2588. And ask to be put on their mailing list, and people can just ask questions and get their concerns addressed that way.
They can talk to the folks there, and if they need information, then they will refer their name and phone number back over to me, and I'll give them a call.
Very good. And there's someone answering that phone, what, Monday through Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yes.
cool. Normal office hours, I'm sure, but again, that number is 928-472-2588. And boy, you know, I'm assuming that, you know, as far as people that are thinking that this is a great idea and they'd like to contribute, you're not confining that just to people that are, you know, contributing $1 million or more.
No.
You know, any little bit's probably going to make a big difference.
Yes, any gift is very appreciated, and you know, I can give them some sense of, you know, we have several. I mean, like all giving programs, we have levels and so on, but.
Sure.
But just as an example, if someone gave a $500 gift, they're allowing a couple of students to take a class, and so our goal this year is to raise about $51,000. So we have a ways to go as we're just getting started, but at any level, you know, if you want to give $100, thank you for that. I mean, it all makes a difference, and you know, we're happy to share with you that, you know, the impact of your gift and how many students you can impact by the level of gift that you're giving, so you can make that decision and see, you know, what your impact should be.
Right. And is Aspire Arizona a 501c3?
Yes, we are.
So these are tax deductible contributions.
Correct.
So you can, rather than giving it to Uncle Sam, you can get rid of it right here and know that it's going to benefit local students in a big way. Really a very amazing benefit that Aspire Arizona and the support that it gets through the MHA Foundation. I'm super impressed. So once again, if you want to find out more, the number to call, 928-472-2588. And our thanks to Paul Brocker, the president of Aspire, also Payson High School principal Jeff Simon, and student Alyssa Burst. And Alyssa, you know, congratulations. I mean, it's really inspiring to see what you're doing and how well you're doing it. Keep up the good work and all the best.
Thank you.
All right.